This video will show you why join EuroCham Cambodia.
What is EuroCham? EuroCham is the European Chamber of Commerce and the leading foreign business association in Cambodia.
EuroCham's core activities are promoting, supporting, and representing its members,
and sustainable business interests in Cambodia.
Since 2011, EuroCham has grown to over 300 members and 6 national chapters.
Joining EuroCham can help you to grow your business in the kingdom.
Who can join? EuroCham is open to everybody. Locals and foreigners, companies, small and large, and individuals are all eligible to become EuroCham members.
We are looking for new startups or small and medium-sized enterprises that are looking to grow.
Why join EuroCham? EuroCham provides unique opportunities and events that help you network with like-minded people and organizations.
Becoming a EuroCham member will help build the visibility of your business both here in Cambodia as well as regionally and internationally.
By joining us, you are giving yourself a bigger, louder voice, a voice that can be heard further away than ever before.
EuroCham membership helps you to grow your network,
have a voice in shaping policies,
take advantage of training,
increase your company's visibility,
build the right team.
EuroCham represents opportunity.
Opportunity to build, to grow, to expand, and develop.
Visit our website today and become a EuroCham member.
Good afternoon, Chum. Welcome to EuroCham's webinars on the annual tax declaration obligations in collaboration with the General Department of Taxation. My name is Eng Ratana. I'm the Events and Membership Managers at EuroCham Cambodia. My pleasure to host this webinar this afternoon. First of all, I would like to express our sincere appreciations to the General Department of Taxation, especially to His Excellency Eng Ratana and his colleagues for joining us this afternoon for this special webinar editions. So without any further delay, I would like to give a quick shout out to our Platinums and Gold partners for being our partners for 2022 and for supporting EuroCham throughout the year. A quick also mention on the agenda for this afternoon webinars. We will have a quick introduction from our co-chairman, Mr. Chum Socheat of the Tax Committee in EuroCham. We will have a special presentation from His Excellency Dr. Eng Ratana on the annual tax declarations. We also later on have a panel discussion moderated by my colleagues Noe, and will be joined by also His Excellency Eng Ratana and colleagues from the General Department of Taxation. So a quick also mention that this webinar is open for questions. So to those of our audience who would like to ask questions along the way, please feel free to do so by dropping your question in our Q&A box. And if you have any technical difficulty, you can let us know through the chat box. So without any delay, like mentioned, moving on to our introduction, may I please invite Bong Chum Socheat for the introduction to our webinar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ratana. Good afternoon, His Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the webinar on practical tips and tricks on annual tax declaration obligations. This webinar is made possible thanks to the well-coordinated work by EuroCham and the General Department of Taxation. This is for the benefits of EuroCham members, the public, as well as enhancing the level of tax compliance in Cambodia. We may have observed that there have been quite a number of developments in taxation in Cambodia in the last 1 or 2 years. Thus, it is a great help from the General Department of Taxation that participants or audience can stay relevant with such developments on taxation by way of joining this kind of webinar. And today we have great honors that the delegates of well-known tax officials from the General Department of Taxation, headed by His Excellency Dr. Eng Ratana, Mr. Tayseng, Mr. Chua Sai, and Mr. Kang Lai, comes to present and discuss certain key points, including but not limited to the recent changes, digital evolutions, etc. As everyone may know, the annual tax compliance and obligations play no different importance to the monthly tax compliance and obligation. So please stay tuned to this wonderful opportunity for the next 1.5 hours, including the always interesting Q&A session in the second part. Without undue delay, I'd like to officially announce the openings of the webinar and would like to pass the floor to His Excellency Dr. Eng Ratana to deliver his special presentation. So please, His Excellency.
Thank you, Mr. Socheat, the co-chair of the EuroCham Tax Committee, and also the tax manager of the ONT SOC and Hague Law. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for the EuroCham College and also HDT College that have organized and coordinate for this webinar this afternoon. Yeah, today I'm very honored and I'm pleased to be a speaker and also have a short presentation. So next slide, and to start to for my presentation today, I'm talking about our vision and mission, and also a second point is the reform of General Department of Taxation, and it consists of the tax administration reform, tax policy reform, and third point annual tax declaration, and last point is the key issue for preparing annual tax return. Next slide, please. Our vision is to become a trusted and respected public entity to have expertise of collecting tax revenue in order to promote economic growth and sustainable development. And also our vision is to provide quality service and strengthening and implementation of tax law and regulation with integrity and equality in order to encourage voluntary compliance to achieve development and promote well-being Cambodian. Next, please. So the reform is we looking for the government rectangular strategy. The core of the rectangular is the governance, the acceleration of the governance, and also we follow the public financial management reform, and also we we have the revenue mobilization strategy, and also we have our action plan, and to reform our policy and administration. The core issue of the reform is the good governance. The good governance, it means that the good administration, effective leadership and management, and meritocracy is the most important. Please, next slide. Yeah. Under leadership of Excellency Kongvibol Mr. Attached Prime Minister, his strong capability and commitment to reform GDT to be a good public government entity. It means that to improve the service to the taxpayer, and the result of the reform very successful, recognized by the international organizations such as the World Bank, IFS, JICA, and others government and non-governmental organizations. This is the evidence to show the successive, very effective and successful reform of our. What happened? It's okay. Yeah. Next slide, please. The result of the reform is for 10 years. We GDT collect tax over the budget is especially in 2021 we collect over the budget 24.02%. Next, please. Yep. The revenue that collected from the taxpayer we use to fund the civil servant salaries and soldiers, and to build our public utility, the property, to sell the Cambodian people our hold. Next. Our reform consists of the that I mentioned already, the tax administration reform and the policy reform. The core function of tax administration reform, and we have also the supporting function. Next, please. We GDT strengthening the administration reform by strengthening the core function that consists of the tax registration reform, taxpayer service and training, and the return filing and tax audit, and debt and collection and appeal process. And also to support the reform, so we also strengthening the supporting function that consists of strengthening the management organizational structure and human resource management and information technology. Next, please. This is the result of our reform. We for the taxpayer service, we have the Chum, we a single platform to register business set up, and also service counter. Taxpayer can come to GDT directly, and also we have the update and information for taxpayers, and the country-wide survey, what they call street survey, and also the taxpayer service. We have a lot of the training seminar and in any others mean to help taxpayer to understand tax law and regulation. And for the return filing, you know already, we introduced e-filing, e-payment, e-uploading. During the COVID-19, taxpayer cannot come to GDT to pay tax. They can upload the document and tax return and pay by online. And also for small taxpayer, we have the small taxpayer apps with the sell record, purchase record account. You can submit online also. Auditing, we producing the, sorry, so small I cannot read. I have to wear my glasses. We are producing audit guideline manual for each business sector, and also audit management system. We improve the tax audit skill, and debt collection and appeal. We implemented the online and complaint request mechanism to, and also implement strictly the measure to collect tax debt. For example, like the suspend the transfer of the property, and also cannot establish the new company, and also cannot the buy share or the cannot get any license. So this is our measure to strengthening the debt collection, and also the function supporting function. We strengthening our human resource capacity and IT, especially during the COVID-19, agility, equip and install and produce a lot of application of the IT system to support our collection. And for the taxpayer registration, for example, we for 2021 we register almost more than almost 10,000, it's 9,000 something. Yeah. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next one. One more. Yeah. Yeah. This is the taxpayer service training is as you can see here, the reform, we concentrate on the human resource is the most important. That our management, His Excellency Kongbo, has a clear vision and mission, and also has strong commitment to reform our GDT. He said that he instructed that the tax resort must be a service provider, yeah, and a partner of the with the private sector and also the taxpayer, and he put the right person in the right place, and he promote the good knowledge official. That's why the reform, as I mentioned already, so very successful. And based on the table, you can see the training is the most important. Tax official training more than 118 times, and the private sector 129 times, and for only the Large Department for seminar workshop 19 times for year 2020, and I think more than 1 time per month. And the total time for this workshop and seminar 146 times, and the participation Japan 16,989 joining for workshop and seminar. This is a very effective measure for the reform, is to help people and officials to understand the law clearly, especially a taxpayer to understand the law. If they don't know the law, how to comply the law. This is the most important. So for the taxpayer service and training also the consultant result is can see next slide please. Yep. Facebook very popular right now is the 2021 the first Facebook you see people to charge 3,133 is and also the GDT new channel also is a new taxpayer service mean, and you see the phone also increased during the COVID-19. They cannot come to the GDT directly. They can call, and we have call center also now very popular. Any problem, the taxpayer can ask question to our tax official by calling 21277. Next slide, please. Live chat. This is for example, myself and our top management excellency, Mr. Prime Minister. He's normally frequently he come to the state for the Facebook Live. Me also. Next, please. Our audit the we strengthening audit tax audits. By recently, we audit have highly trained and equipped with the knowledge and practical experiences, and risk-based audit program have been improved day to day, and the total audit case can be increasingly completed faster than previous year, and amount of tax reassessment increased markedly. Next, please. For the debt collection and appeal process, for the debt collection, we have different measures I mentioned already. For example, like measure to restrict the issuance of the certificate to inducted enterprise, inviting tax inducted company to settle tax liability by publishing in the press. For example, like Facebook and newspaper is very sensitive and also very effective. When if the taxpayer they have tax arrears, they don't come to pay. Even the tax official invite so many times, they don't come. We can invite them through the press, through the what they call the public news. So very effective way, and also our measure to restrict the taxation. They cannot set up a company, new company. And they restrict transfer of the property. They cannot sell and buy property, and also we request the temporary detention of import export to the custom department. And also some cases, if they don't come, we freeze their bank account. Also, this is our mean to collect our tax arrears. And for the appeal process, we improving the appeal processes by reducing time to resolve cases and implementing the online the tax complaint and the protest mechanism, like the can e-document submission through online. Yeah, next please. For the IT system, as I mentioned already, we improve a lot of our IT system. We have totally during 2021 for the system application website and update up to 44. It's not small job; it's a big job. Yeah. So within the from 2014 to 2021, we GDT developed 152 system application website and update. Next, please. Okay, next, please. Next one, yeah, please. For our tax policy reform, consists of the new and amended tax law regulation and the agreement on avoidance of double taxation agreement, what they call tax treaty, and cooperate with private sector and other institutions. Next, please. For the amended tax law regulation, we issue the Ministry of Economic Finance issue the tax arrears management prakas, law on investment, stamp duty, VAT refund, and also including the VAT refund for the tourism. The amended our law, the advance tax on distribution, dividend distribution, tax stamp, and also new progressive rate for the tax on income and the tax on salary. Because of time constraint, I don't talk so much about in detail about that one. During the panel discussion, the audience can ask the question. Okay, for the new tax law regulation, we implement the VAT for e-commerce will be effective from 1st April this year, 2022. Currently, we invite the non-resident taxpayer who supply digital goods and services to Cambodia that meet the threshold. 250,000 real per year come to register with GDT, what they call the simplified VAT registration. And taxpayer classification, we change about the threshold for large revenue and asset, large, medium, and small. And also, MES issue sub-degree of business registration through the IT platform I mentioned already, CAM-DH. And also, we have the advance tax on dividend distribution. It's a new type of taxes, new type of tax. The capital gain also, but currently is suspended. And also, MES issued the program on flow matter for beer and non-alcoholic beverage on local production enterprise. The enterprise have produced alcohol product and beverage must install the flow meter and the control block to control the production. Next, please. For the international treaty, GDT so far we conclude DTA with 9 DTA with 8 countries and 1 special administrative region, Hong Kong, and also we signed with Macau already, but not effective yet, and until next year. And also in the process of the negotiation with the 5 country like the Philippines, Laos, Japan, Turkey, and the Emirates. Next, please. The cooperation with private sector and other institutions. For international institutions, we work with those international organizations, institutions 14 times for year 2020, and for national institutions 243, and for private sector, we have the meeting with private sector 25 times. So in average 2 times per month. And we welcome all association, for example, like the EuroCham also, and all other associations. Even we have subcommittee led by the co-chair Eng Ratana also, but we welcome some issue raised by private sectors, including EuroCham today. Next, please. because we are right, our important subject today is annual tax declaration. Recently, the GDT issue and notification letter number 1265 dated to 24 January 2020 on the filing of annual income tax return for the year 2021. That the one is enterprise using tax years per calendar year. It means that they start operation closing the tax year from 1st January to 31 December, required to declare and submit annual tax return, what's called TOIs return, whereas the TOI e-filing and self-pay income tax not later than 31 March 2022. So this is half. It means that the taxpayer has 3 months right now, 1.5 months already. But some taxpayer they finish the annual tax return already, but some in the process of the closing the account and also preparing the annual tax return. And second point, in the private, the different calendar tax year other than calendar year, they approved by GDT must submit the tax return and pay income tax not later than 3 months after the year end of the tax year. It can be a subsidiary or a branch office of foreign enterprise. They can apply the GDT for different the tax year different from calendar year. Next, please. Enterprise that has many branches must file. It means that local company, the company registered in Cambodia or a branch office in Cambodia, they have sub-branch. And the company registered in Cambodia, they have branch office different in Phnom Penh and also in provincial branch. They must file an annual tax return which include the combined result from the principal establishment and all branches. But they have to attach the list of revenue and spend account. It means that the income statement, because the some asset owned by the head office. That's why we don't need to the branch to declare everything. They don't need the branch to have the balance sheet, but they have to attach the revenue and spend account. It's been that income statement, the period cost and revenue, and also they have to submit the long-term asset for each branch. For point, the enterprise that implementing multiple QIP or many other projects which are either QIP or non-QIP that receive different income tax exemption or different income tax rate, must file tax return and pay income tax stated in point 1 and 3 above, and must carry out application as stated in Procast 1127 on the application of the multiple project. This means that the company, one company, they can have the QIP, 2 QIP, 1 the tax exemption expire, and it's one, and second one is during the tax exemption, and also they have another project without tax incentive. So that this company, this kind of company, have to report and submit tax return separately. Next, please. Point 5, staff and tax service agent who are representing on behalf of the taxpayers to communicate with tax administration, with tax official, and filing monthly and annual tax return must have staff identification or written authorization letter from the taxpayer for the tax service agent as stated in the broadcast of tax service agent. Next, please. So the last point I would like to talk the key issue for preparing annual tax return. A, the filing annual tax return responsibility, and B, log carry forward, tax log carry forward, audited financial report, improper accounting record, using exchange rate and information technology reform. Next, please. For the preparing the annual tax return, the taxpayer or tax agent must clearly understand and fully aware of new amended law and regulation and gather all relevant data from January 1st to December 31. If they have tax year from January to December, so the tax agent and also the accountant in charge of tax affair, they need to update the knowledge. They have to learn, they have to update any amendment law regulation. If they don't, they cannot prepare the annual return properly. And second point, a taxpayer or tax agent must have awareness of application and sort of have a responsibility in order to avoid any error which may subject to tax reassessment in the future. It means that if they prepare something wrong, put wrong on annual tax return, and in the future, the GDT may send auditor to verify the record with the tax return, annual tax return. If the error can be reassessed or can be adjusted by the tax official, and if they have any adjustment, they may have to pay additional tax and penalty and interest. So please prepare properly. Next, please. For the preparing annual tax return, also before filing and filing annual tax return, taxpayer or tax agent must fully collect all data, including revenue, expenses, accrual, and all supporting document from 1st January to 31 December. I mean that they have to check all relevant documents in the accounting record before they close the account, especially the fill the form annual tax return. The taxpayer or tax agent so understand the difference between the accounting principle and tax law regulation. This is the most important, because when you close the account, you not arrive the final result yet. Because let's say you finish accounting close account, you get the result. You can know how much you earn, you make profit, but it's not real your money, because you owe to the government. You have to pay income tax 20%. So you have to do the adjustment. In general, the tax law and regulation different from accounting principle. Accounting principle currently, taxpayer have to use the CIFRS, Cambodia International Financial Reporting Standard, or CIFRS for SME. And the taxpayer also have to comply with tax law and regulation. So the accounting have to follow the accounting, and after the close account, the taxpayer have to do adjustment based on the tax law and regulation. So the auditor, the accountant need to do many adjustments. Have to check GL from 1st January to the end of the year. Otherwise, they cannot prepare the annual tax return properly. If they cannot do adjustment properly, it's subject to adjustment by the tax auditor in the future. Using all after the adjustment, finally they can use all information collected to manage and fill in the annual tax return form or pages, and especially they must do properly the adjustment in page 9 and 10 is the most important page for the tax on income. Yeah, next please. the lock carry forward. The lock can be carried forward for up to 5 years, and the taxpayer must use adjusted data on the tax reassessment report issued by GDT. Sometimes the taxpayer declare loss, but after the tax official audit, and then the auditor adjusts the record, adjusts the tax return, and the final result is company make profit. So the taxpayer cannot use the loss from previous year to carry forward for the current year, because the data already changed by the tax official. They have to use the adjusted data issued by the GDT tax official. Tax losses must be stated in the annual tax return. It doesn't have on annual tax return, cannot carry forward. The taxpayer which have been utility reassessed are not subject to the carry forward and not allowed to loss carry forward when the business activity change. Have been changed, cannot lock carry forward. Next, please. Audited financial report. Point C. Large taxpayer required to submit audited financial report issued by professional auditor, accredited accounting firm. They have the license from the MES. And also we have the broadcast 563 MES dated 10 July 2020 that required the enterprise must have audited financial report. If they meet criteria 3 are the following: annual turnovers higher than 4 billion and total asset for higher than 3 billion, and they have employee more than 100 employee. Next, please. The public enterprise, the public limited enterprise and qualified investment project QIPs must submit its financial statement for each accounting period for independent audit. And also we have the broadcast 11330 issue long time 17 October 2017, government industry extending the suspension of the prepayment up to 2022 up to this year. But in order to qualify for suspension 1% prepayment, the enterprise must comply with tax law regulation and must fulfill the following condition: keep proper accounting record in accordance with the tax law and regulation and law on corporate account issued by MES, and they pay all the taxes in full and on due date and submitted financial report to the tax administration. Next, please. Also, we have the improper accounting record. The condition must be fulfilled on the enterprise to qualify for exemption from 1% minimum tax on turnover. The exemption will be available only to taxpayers who have proper accounting record. And also, we define the improper accounting record that consists of enterprise accounting record which do not meet the requirements set out by the accounting standard issued by MES. Enterprise which fail to issue invoice, if they sell goods and services to customer, not issue invoice. Enterprise which commit serious negligence as stated in Article 126 or LT. Enterprise we commit tax evasion as stated in Article 127 of law on taxation. Enterprise with annual turnover exceed the threshold I stated. I mentioned a moment is the Prakar 563. If they and do not have the audited financial report from independent auditor. Next, please. When you close, you prepare the annual tax return, you have to use the exchange rate because most company, most enterprise in Cambodia, they use the currency, the US dollar as a functional currency. So in order to submit tax return in real, they have to translate from functional currency to real. They have to apply all accounting balance in financial statement for the current year, including beginning balance in provision table must be exchanged into Khmer Real by using annual exchange rate. It means that the annual exchange rate, it means that at the end of the year, the last date of the year is the annual exchange rate. And also they translate the accounting balance in previous year. We call N-1 using the figure in Khmer Real from previous annual income tax return. For the balance from previous year, recorded on the annual tax return, you don't need to do anything. You just carry forward those data put in the current form, current annual tax return form. Next, please. For example, here, if the exchange rate previous year exchange rate 4,000 per US dollar, and current year's exchange rate $1 or 4,100. So the red color is the current year. Yeah, the blue is previous year. So the current year you have to use the current exchange rate is for 4,100, and for the previous year you have to use the 4,000 real per US dollar. That I mentioned already, because most of business they record and prepare financial report in US dollar in functional currency of the company, if the US dollar. So company close the account in US dollar. After that, they can translate in real by using the Khmer currency, as I mentioned already. Next, please. Therefore, the tax on income adjustment, the taxpayer must use the data from previous annual tax return. We call N-1 in Khmer Real and to fill in the beginning balance, including the present table as per law taxation, interest expense, carry forward table, and tax table accumulated losses, carry forward table for calculating current annual tax return. Please note that the enterprise with different tax year approved by GDT, I mentioned already, can be subsidiary of multinational company and a foreign branch office. They are approved by GDT. They use different tax year. The tax year different from calendar year. They can use the last month exchange rate of that different tax year for preparing the annual income tax return. It means that if they close, they have tax year from the first April to 31 March, they use the exchange rate in real in 31 March. It means that the last month exchange rate is been the last month and last date. Taxpayer who has closing balance sheet must use the exchange rate of the last month or the balance sheet or the business closing date. If they close, the taxpayer who closed the company, they seize the company, they have to use the exchange rate in the last month of the business, the last month and last date of the business closing date. Next, please. For IT, the last one point, the last point is all taxpayer can now file tax return electronically. Taxpayer, large taxpayer, are required to file return via the e-filing, monthly tax return, and also the sorry, annual tax return. Why medium and small large taxpayer that they have the limited knowledge on electronic filing, have their choice between the e-filing or the pre-filing up for small taxpayer only, and annual manual submission also they are acceptable. Medium and large medium and small taxpayer who cannot submit via tax on income e-filing, TOI e-filing, can still submit electronically by uploading the scan return document via the e-document submission system without the need to come to tax office directly. Amendment of the TOI or e-filing processes can create new TOI return in TOI e-filing system and submit letter requesting to replace the new return with the previous one. Next, please. That's all. Okay. I've end all my presentation. Thank you so much, and you can have question later. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your time in delivering the presentation. It's very insightful on the detail you have provided regarding the annual tax declarations. So without any further delay, may I quickly introduce our next sessions, which will be led by my colleagues, Mr. Noe Chalik, who is the Advocacy Manager at EuroCham Cambodia. He will be joined once again by Excellency Eng Ratana, also Mr. Chai Chi-Heng, Deputy Director of Large Taxpayer Department, Mr. Su Se, Deputy Director of Enterprise Audits Department, also Mr. Trang Lai, who's the Chief of Bureau of the Enterprise Audits Department, and last but not least, our co-chairman of EuroCham Committee, Mr. Chum Socheat. So, like mentioned, Noe, I give you now the floor to coordinate this panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ratanak. Thank you, Excellency, and the entire team at GDT. It was a very insightful presentation. Thank you for taking the time for preparing this for us and the around 150, 160 participants we have in this webinar today. Currently, I have around 10, 11 questions, and we have a good half an hour. So I think that's feasible for sure. I will just raise the questions that come up in general to the panel and to Socheat, and also Tayseng, please feel free if you want to add something to participate in the discussion as well. And please decide among you who is most appropriate to deal with the question. I see two first questions which relate to fringe benefits for employees. First question is around a company which pays their foreign workers their work permits, also the costs related to applying for the foreign worker quotas. And the question is if these payments by the company on behalf of those foreign employees, are those costs regarded as fringe benefits for the employees and taxed as such? Excellency, or the team at the GDT?
I cannot, sorry, I cannot hear clearly.
Right, I will repeat the question. It's around fringe benefits for employees. In short, the question is whether when a company pays for its employees, its its work permit, pays the fees related to the foreign worker quotas, etc., whether those payments on behalf of the employee are regarded for tax purposes.
Please, excuse me. Can you speak slowly because the voice is not clear? That's why we cannot hear clearly. Please speak slowly. I don't know, maybe the internet or maybe the speaker here is not.
I will try one last time. If it doesn't work, I will ask my colleague.
Please slowly, please.
The question, yes. The question is if payments by a company for its employees, for its work permits, and the foreign worker quotas, the fees related to that, are those regarded as taxable fringe benefits for the employees?
Mr. Chair, you can understand, please answer.
Yeah, thank you for the question related to worker quotas or permit. It subject fringe benefit or not. It depends on the labor law. It's the labor law mentioned that this is the burden of employer is not subject to fringe benefit. Otherwise, it's all expense not mentioned in the labor law is subject fringe benefit. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, thank you for that answer. A second question related to the fringe benefits that we have from one of the participants relates, it's actually an NGO asking the question. I'm not sure whether that would change the answer, but they provide a monthly allowance to their employees to use a phone. So they give a certain amount of money for using phones. And the question is if this is taxable, yes or no.
Yeah, related to telephone allowance to the staff is related to the mission not subject to pay tax. Otherwise, is subject to pay tax on fringe benefit. Related to telephone provide to the staff difficulty to separate which amount is related to business and which amount is subject to related to a private use. So this is still a debate between taxpayer with the tax authority. But based on our tax on salary, Prakat mentioned is meet 3 criteria. First, 100% related to business is not subject to pay fringe benefit. So to meet 3 criteria. First is 100% related to business amount, immaterial, not significant amount, and has a proof and support document that already paid by employer. This criteria is difficult to argue with the tax authority. So this problem always challenge with the tax authority. So if the NGO has proof meet 3 criteria, not subject to pay fringe benefit tax, otherwise is subject to fringe benefit. And during our audit, we also see amount. The amount is a materiality or not. Is immateriality. We never charge a fringe benefit. Thank you.
Right. Thank you for that very extensive answer. I think that's clear now. I will move on to the next question. It's about a company, in fact, a registered company who has 2 businesses. The example given here is it has 1 leg which is involved in trading, and the other part of the business is a restaurant. The question is if this company can apply for a tax exemption for the restaurant activity based on the guidelines during the COVID-19 that were issued. So the benefits for restaurants and the exemptions there, would they be able to be applied for the entire company or only for the restaurant part of that company?
Thank you for your question. As I catch up your question, you mean that the company have two activity. One is the restaurant. The restaurant, the assumption for monthly and yearly or monthly tax return, monthly paid tax out monthly, and you have other activity, right? It's subject to tax. So in this case, you have to separate the annual tax return in two parts. One is you're closing the annual tax return for the activity that's subject to income tax. And the second one is the annual tax return for the restaurant that the government intervention, they give exemption for paying tax.
All right.
Let me add, government already issue guideline to exemption related to restaurant activity until June 2022. No need to, company can apply.
All right. I think that's clear. Another question, it's addressed also to you, Your Excellency. And the question is, if for a company, if one of our projects receives an income tax, the PPT, so the prepayment of 1% on the monthly tax return.
Thank you for the project who enjoy tax incentive, income tax incentive. They don't need to pay prepayment, because the prepayment is the prepayment on income tax. You pay in advance, monthly basis, and at the end of the year, the project, the company can use the prepayment have been paid on monthly basis and offset with the yearly income tax. If the income tax exemption, they don't need to declare and pay 1% on monthly.
All right, thank you for that.
Let me add related to minimum tax. It's depend on the company has a proper accounting record or not. In case the company has a proper accounting record, is a minimum tax also exemption. And we already, our government issue new investment law in case the company has audited report by accounting firm is treated as has a proper accounting record exemption.
Thank you. Thank you. I will move on to the next one. The question is if local companies provide services to organizations which carry out projects under loans or grants under bilateral cooperation. What is the situation there? Are these local companies also given an exemption from paying taxes on their services too? Should I repeat the question, or was it clear?
We not clear answer question. Please ask again.
So I will repeat the question.
Or income tax, so they have to pay income tax. But for VAT, they don't need to charge and they need to declare. The letter issued by MES or by GDT state that the assumption VAT and all the taxes, and if not state income tax, they also need to pay income tax. But they have to state clearly assumption income tax also is done they state the income tax exemption, the supplier have to pay the income tax.
All right, that's clear. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Another question I have is from a company which supplies to another company which has a QIP status. And the question is if that company can supply to the QIP company without charging VAT.
Thank you for your question regarding to the VAT. According to the new law investment state that the QIP purchase goods and services local purchase of the production raw material and from local supplier, the exemption from VAT. So this new law not implemented because we need to have the sub-degree and any other regulation to clarify, to define what kind of activity, what kind of sector, and any other issue. So currently, even the law approved already and signed by the king and effective already, but we need to have the sub-decree and the program to implement the law. So in the practice, the supplier have to charge VAT as normal until the law or the regulation, the sub-decree and any other regulation issue.
Right. Would you have a view, Your Excellency, when that sub-decree would become available?
Currently, we work so hard, TDT and Ministry of Economic Finance and the CDC currently have worked very hard to draft the regulation. I think in the near future, the regulation will approve. Please wait a little bit.
That's good news. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will move on. I will move on to the next question. So, if a company has losses according to its audited accounts and already for a few years, and it has been paying its prepayments on a monthly basis, can these prepayments be deducted when the company starts making profits after all?
Will you repeat your question again?
Yes, I also dropped it in the Telegram group for your colleagues to read. So the question is if, sorry, I lost it. Yes, so if a company has losses according to its audited accounts already for a few years, but it has been paying its PPT tax on a monthly basis, when the company eventually starts making profit, can it deduct that the PPT which it has been paying?
Okay, thank you, Mr. So your question, I don't know how to call your name. Please tell your name, please. Until now, I don't know how to read your name. No?
No, or Schelling, yes.
No selling. Okay, thank you, Mr. No selling. The question is that if the company have losses, audited account for the few years and have been paying the PPT tax on monthly basis, can this PPT repayment profit tax be deducted when the company start making profit? If the company has what they call the proper accounting record, it's issued by GDT. It means that the mainly they have audited financial report and submit to GDT. GDT consider that if the they have the proper accounting record, issue the gold certificate and also the proper accounting record certificate. When they make the profit in the future, they can carry forward the prepayment on profit tax to the following year and can offset. If the company that they don't have the gold certificate or what they call the proper accounting record, the prepayment on profit tax will become minimum tax at the end of the year. So in such case, they cannot carry forward the PPT to offset with the income tax for the following year when they have profit.
All right, thank you. If you just give me 1 second, I will try to switch to a headset. Maybe that improves the quality.
What do you mean? Okay.
All right. I hope you can hear me better
comment
now.
on the account EuroCham webinar. I think it's easy for me. Okay, good.
All right. So the next question we received is around VAT on e-commerce. And the question from the participant is more in particular how this works in practice. How is this collected, especially if the company would not be registered? Could you clarify the situation?
To impose them to pay and come to register. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next question is from a participant who asks, I have heard that the new resident entities are details about this potential new legislation and the timeline of implementation regarding.
You mean about the e-commerce? Excuse me. You mentioned about e-commerce, or you mentioned about the law investment?
I think in general about non-resident entities. I'm not sure what the participant is particularly referring to.
No, it's not the. You said that they heard that the new legislation under the preparation, not like that. Actually, broadcast subcommittee and broadcast instruction already issued. So no need to issue any more broadcast regulation. We delay until 1st April 2022 because of the request from the taxpayer, especially we met the big company, some big company like Google, like the Netflix, and the Facebook, right? And the Facebook and some other the big company, they request GDT to delay the implementation because they need to inform to client, and also they need to prepare internal procedure also, and especially they need to amend their system internally. So they request the GDT to delay the implementation. Finally, Ministry of Economic and Finance as well as GDT accept the request and delay the implementation up to 1st April 2022. It does not mean that the regulation is in the process of preparing. It's already prepared and issued already. We don't need to issue any instruction or regulation.
So, thank you.
Please note that we implement only e-commerce and charge VAT only.
Yeah. Thank you for that clarification regarding e-commerce. But in this case, the participant now clarified that the question does not relate to possible new legislation regarding e-commerce, but in general, the company concerns a container shipping line. So the question is how if there would be a change in the taxation for non-resident entities which are not in the e-commerce sphere.
I don't understand your. I don't. Please clarify your question. I don't understand your question at the moment.
Yes. So the question is if there would be a change in the taxation of non-resident entities, not related to e-commerce, but a general company. In this case, for example, a container shipping company, which is a non-resident entity. Are there any changes to be expected in the taxation regime for them?
No, we don't have any change in law and regulation so far. Only we have only our law very generous, not collect more tax like the law investment. We have amended our law investment to give more incentive. Very generous than before, but wait a little bit. I mentioned already, but any other change the laws will not happen in the future. So far, we don't have plan to change any law regulation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I answer your question.
For me, yes. If there are no changes, then I think the answer is sorry. The question is answered. But I would maybe ask Paul, who answered the question, if you would have any other follow-up question, please feel free to drop it in the Q&A.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick 2 or 3 more questions. One question relates to the quite new regulation which has been issued regarding the flow meter requirement for the production of beer and other alcoholic beverages. Is that new regulation already in effect currently? Okay, for installing the flow meter and conductivity sensors of the company, the law regulation instruction are already issued, and they start to and effective from this year. But there's some company are already installed and start operation that they use the flow meter and conductivity sensor already, and some the order and the devices, the equipment already transport to the company. They need time to install, but the delay because of the some reason. Because the supplier, some is because supplier, and especially the transport, the logistics is an issue regarding to the COVID-19. So the delay the delivery good to customer. So the installing process can delay for a while. I think maybe this month and next month they have to finish. If they don't, any company that don't order the flow meter and conductivity sensor, they may penalize soon. We prepared the letter already. We give some time to them. We warning them. They have to place order. They have to make any payment to the supplier, Montoretro. If they don't, subject to penalty. But if any company that place order and payment to the supplier and the good not delivered yet, it can be exemption from penalty because they intend to comply the law, but because of the process of the
logistic, delivery good and services, delivery good from the supplier also delay, and also the supplier, they purchase those equipment from the factory also delay, and especially they have the reasonable ground, reasonable reason, so those may that they done orders will subject to penalty.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer. Looking at the time, I'm just going to pick 2 or 3 maybe very short questions to end this interesting Q&A session.
One is, you must be clear that the mission is only for the business purpose only. And number 2, the amount of the mission must be, you have to compare the amount of the mission, and it must be not exaggerated compared to the size of the business, compare the activity of the business, and also compared to the profit of the business. So in general, the business mission is deductible, but you have to link it with 2 conditions like I specify. Okay, that's clear. Thank you. And are there any specific guidelines available as to when is something exaggerated and not, or is that part of a potential discussion? Or are there strict guidelines, jurisprudence available which would help to estimate when expenses are possibly exaggerated or not?
Oh, to answer the question, I think some issue need judgment, logical judgment. We cannot write everything. I think all around the world, country taxation around the world, some issue need to be reasonable adjustment, judgment. Not, you cannot write everything sometimes. So can be debate, but needs reasonable. You cannot write everything on the regulation, I think. Okay. Okay. But any special, you can submit the letter and request the GDT. We can answer directly to the company who has some problem. For general, we use the reasonable reason, as Mr. Tran Lai mentioned. Yeah. But any special, you can write letter directly to GDT. We can answer, give what they call the instruction for such a special case.
Okay. I think that's clear. Thank you. Maybe just final question to close the session. So if a company has a tax exemption on income tax, does the company need to pay prepayment tax for all its activities? So its QIP activities and its non-QIP activities.
The question, you mean that the company have 2 activities, right?
Yes,
QIP the QIP, they enjoy the incentive, the exemption, and the second one is non-QIP. Yes. So based on the broadcast on multiple QIP, the company have to separate register for tax purpose. They have prepared accounting to set for non-QIP subject to tax on income, and the QIP not subject to income tax. Also, they have to submit tax return monthly and yearly differently. And also, they have to carry book account differently also, and classify non-current asset and all expenses differently. Okay.
Yes, that's clear. And I think that's also my final question for today. There are some other questions outstanding in the Q&A, but our time is running out. So maybe for some of them, we'll try to provide a written follow-up if possible. But in any case, I would like to thank the panel and especially Your Excellency for your great input today, for a fantastic presentation also, and for being so engaging with our audience. And with this, I will hand over the floor to Mr. Lee Tayseng, who will deliver the closing remarks for today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just chào bạn đúng không?
Chín 11 a.m.
Right, great. Thank you. We'll also share that information on our social media, so people have the link to the Facebook Live. But I think that could indeed be an interesting follow-up session. Thank you. Tayseng, please.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. No, and just would like to take this opportunity. Excellency Dr. Eng Ratana, Directors of Large Taxpayer Department, and all his colleagues for making presentations, a very important presentation on annual declaration obligations, and also to respond to various questions from participants. I would also like to thank all the participants who always following and joining a webinar conducted by EuroCham. On behalf of my colleagues, Socheat, co-chairmen of EuroCham Tax Committee, we would like to thank all your support and your cooperations. I think without further ado, I think the time is up, so I would like to declare closing this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bang Tayseng, and indeed, thank you, Your Excellency Eng Ratana and the entire team of GDT for your time with us this afternoon since 2:30 actually, and to my colleagues Noe and the entire team at EuroChams. So this webinar later will be available online, also on EuroCham YouTube channels. It will be broadcasted once again later in the coming days. So please feel free to tune in case you miss some of the information, especially the presentation done by His Excellency Eng Ratana. So last but not least, from EuroChams, once again, we are open to all legally registered company in Cambodia to become our members. So for any further information, feel free to contact one of our teams. We have also in the coming weeks list of professional training. We have also on logistic and supply chains upcoming. We have on PowerPoint, public speaking, also and on Excel training, and lastly on financial analysis. Welcome, and also thank you to all our newest members and existing members who continue to support EuroCham throughout the year. We deeply appreciate for your support to the chambers and for your input throughout, especially in the advocacy programs of EuroChams. So if you are not yet a member of EuroCham, and if you are a member of EuroCham but not yet part of the committee itself, especially the tax committee, feel free to reach out to me or one of my team, and we'll get you on board. Thank you once again to everyone, and have a nice evening to all.